Ba-ba-da.
Hello, I'm Matt,
I'm Sonja.
and welcome to the first ever special episode of our Life and Podcast. We're calling it a special
Sure.
because instead of talking about our life, we're just talking about some shit we like. In this case, it's going to be video games. Each of us have made a list of our top 5 video games. We're going to share those with you, and we're going to maybe go over a couple of details as to why they're some of our favorites. Again, I know for our normal viewers, this probably wouldn't be much of anything you care about, but hey, skip it, I don't care. But anyway, Sonja, I'm going to give you the floor here to start us off. So, how about, what do you have for us on your list?
My all-time favorite game, because I've been playing it a lot, is Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And as to why, is because it's very playable. Like I said, I just played it a bunch of times. It's dark. It's really different from any other Zelda game. The music is awesome. It's kind of open world. Like, every time I play it, I find a new thing. I'm like, oh my god, I have never been here before. Especially in the HD version and on Wii U.
Alright.
And one more thing to add is it reminds me of my dad and my brother playing it and stuff.
So, are you gonna... I mean, we didn't set up a structure of how we're gonna do this ahead of time. Are you gonna go through your whole list, or
What do you want me to do?
Go ahead. Go through the whole list right now.
I will say I don't think these are chronological order. Like, I mean, Twilight Princess is, because it is my all-time favorite. But I don't know. I was figuring out, I can't do 5. But then again, I was like, yeah, I can. But then I was thinking again, I'm like, but I like this game too, and I like this game. A lot of Nintendo games is what I like, but I'll share that later. Anyway, the next one, I kind of cheated, but you can't have the first one without the second one, and that is Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. I like these ones because they're really cute and fun to play, and they're not overly hard. Sometimes they are at the end because you have to get all the jiggies. But again, this reminded me of my childhood. I used to watch my brother play it all the time, and I started playing it, and it's really colorful, and it's really fun. And Mumbo right here, he's my favorite character. The next one that I also played with my brother and my cousin a lot, and played a lot of hours, and I played a lot of hours with him because he had it on his Xbox 360, is Perfect Dark. I think I like the Xbox 360 one more because it don't hurt your eyes. But I don't know. This one is just really awesome, and they ruined it with Perfect Dark Zero. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Perfect Dark Zero. And I think a lot of people probably, if they played both versions side by side today, probably would not choose the N64 version simply for the dated controls. And
the controls don't bother me.
Yeah, for me, I'm used to that kind of stuff. I mean, 64 was my bread and butter, still is, so, yeah. In other words, those damn Gen Zers are wine asses. Anyway, continue.
Well, another thing I'm going to add about my 5-tier list or whatever, again, it's not chronological. I based my list on the games I played the most. So my next game was probably my second favorite game, and that is Mario Kart Double Dash. I played the shit out of this game. After school, hooked this up, and it was awesome that my brother had a GameCube. But yeah, I would listen to my I Lady Peace and go to town on this. But yeah, this is probably my second all-time favorite game. It's the best Mario 64. I love a lot of Mario Kart games. I love them all, and I have a lot of them, but I think this one is the best. And my 5th one, just because, again, I played the shit out of it, and it brings really good memories, is Bomberman 93 on the Super Nintendo. So both the multiplayer mode and the single player mode. And it makes me think of my dad because he used to beat the single player mode again. Should I do my honorable mentions now or wait until the end?
No, do your honorable mentions. That's fine.
Okay. Well, honorable mentions is a lot because I have a lot of memories, again, with games. First one comes to mind, since it's right here, is Conker's Bad Fur Day. Me and my cousin would play the multiplayer and play Wii Splat, which was just jumping off a high building and exploding our body parts everywhere. I don't have the game, but we have it like in digital form and stuff. But Metroid, there's little Samus here.
Is there any particular Metroid?
All of them.
You know, I do have Metroid Zero Mission.
That's too hard to get. Anyway, again, it's my dad loved Metroid and my brother, and the first Metroid, when you found out it was a girl, I was like, holy shit, that was my dad, because I mean, it wasn't heard back then that the heroine was, well, hero was a heroine.
Yeah, an addict.
But, I mean, the Super Metroid.
What? I didn't say anything.
Super Metroid is probably the best, but Metroid Prime with the music, Super Metroid and Metroid Prime music is like really awesome, and the games, like, they're really unique. Like, a lot of people copy them. That's why the term Metroidvania or whatever came out, is because everyone copied this game. I mean, it copied Alien the movie, but hey, we're not talking about that. I can't personally play the games because I suck at them, but I love watching them, and it's, I don't know, it's really good memories. Mortal Kombat, I mean, my name is Sonja Blade. Our son is named Raiden, but again, I did not name my kid Raiden after Mortal Kombat. The first one probably gives me memories because it literally came out the year I was born, 92. I think it was like in the spring or summer of it. But my favorite Mortal Kombat game is probably Deadly Alliance because I played a lot of it, and it's like the only one I could actually play. I'm not bad at it. Which
is kind of a hot take because a lot of people do not like Deadly Alliance.
I don't know why. I had no problem with that game at all.
I personally, I wasn't too big on Armageddon, but Deception and Deadly Alliance out of that trilogy I thought were okay. I really like the combat chess too. That honestly needs to make a comeback into these games. I don't know why it hasn't.
Yeah, but Deadly Alliance started the whole conquest thing, like the new, like, missionary stuff. So I don't get the hate for it. Whatever. Smash Brothers Melee, another game I played the crap out of with my cousins and after school and stuff. We do have that somewhere, but I don't know where it is. And Kirby, just all Kirby games. Kirby is one of my favorite characters. I guess I could add, I mean, Twilight Princess is my favorite, but I love pretty much all Legend of Zelda games except for the new Skyward's pissing me off, but whatever. But Kirby, I haven't really played a bad game of that, like the DS ones. I don't think I played the Game Boy Advance ones. But 64 Kirby, I don't know. I haven't played GameCube Kirby, but I played a lot of them. But I haven't. There's some genres I have not played. But
is there a normal Kirby game even on the GameCube? I don't think there is.
I thought there was one because I thought that was where the Link-looking one was. I think there's one, or is it?
All I can think of is Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube. I know the Wii has one.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Wii. I thought there was another one on GameCube.
I could be wrong too. I mean, I'm not the biggest Kirby fan. I mean, I like Kirby, but I don't keep track of the series. So
yeah, but I like a lot of Kirby games. That's why I couldn't really name one. And the other Legend of Zelda game, that's probably my second favorite Legend of Zelda game, is Wind Waker.
So, thank you, Sonja, for your list. It was entertaining.
Do you have any comments on mine?
I did, and then I forgot it. Anyway.
That's why I was wearing my Zelda shirt. I have many Zelda shirts, but I picked this one today.
Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. I was actually going to say something about Super Metroid. Like, I know you have a lot of personal memories with it.
Yeah,
and I like the game. I don't dislike it, but to me, I don't think it's the best Metroid out there.
Blasphemy. Everyone that says Metroid always says Super Metroid.
Yeah, and that's probably why it's not my favorite. It's kind of like when someone talks about Zelda series and say Ocarina of Time is the best.
No.
If you've especially if you've never played Ocarina of Time before, a lot of people probably won't. They'd probably push back against it just because of the popularity, the hipster viewpoint. That said, when I played through it, I do think some things were done better in subsequent games. So
you just suck at it. Get out.
Hey, I beat it. So
yeah.
So for me, this was way harder of a list to come up with than it should have been. So what I did is, while these games definitely fall into my favorites category, I tried to actually stick with stuff that I guess had more meaning to me in some way.
That's what I did. And ones I played the most.
Yeah, but I'm to point it out, mine is going to be a little bit different than what yours is in this case.
Obviously.
Well, no, I mean, like, you say it has more meaning to you, but there's, like, particular reasons these do that are completely different from what yours would be, I guess.
Yeah, that's not what I meant to say. I'm just saying I picked ones that meant a lot to me and the ones I played a lot of.
So I am going in reverse order, starting with 5 up to 1. But before that, honorable mentions. I do not have Ocarina of Time on this list, but Ocarina of Time could have easily made it simply because it was my personal first experience to the exposure to the Zelda series. And for my money, I still think it is one of the better ones. See? That's exactly what I mean. Anyway, Final Fantasy VII, another one that people, especially Gen Z, again, I'm going to bitch about you guys. You guys seem to push back against Final Fantasy VII because of the Popeye graphics and the fact that the big...
Remake?
No. People seem to generally, for the most part, like the remake.
Well, they definitely are adding more to the story.
But the original Final Fantasy VII seems to kind of be more divisive, at least with younger kids, because the graphics didn't age well, and the fact that the
you don't say the blocks
and the big reveal, the big twist in the game, pretty much everybody fucking knows it, kind of like Luke, who Luke Skywalker's father is. So at this point, there's no surprise in the story, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like it. But for me, it was one hell of a game when I first played it. I still think it's one hell of a game now.
People that actually were around, like, at the right age when it came out still love it, so you trying to get me to play it.
Super Mario 3. Super Mario World probably in some technical aspects is better, but for me, I always liked the challenge and the way the game was paced. I liked it better for Super Mario 3, so that's why I would put that on my honorable mentions. Tetris, because it's fucking Tetris, and anybody that knows me knows I play more of that game than I probably should.
I love Tetris too, but I don't know. You like Tetris more than I do. I like some of the older ones, and then Tetris 99's alright.
Pardon me. Metroid Zero Mission is also one of my honorable mentions. Really,
honorable mention!
It could have been on the list also. I have beat that game way more times than I care to even remember. But the only reason it's not is because, again, I saved my list more for things that had a particular meaning. And the entirety of the Shin Megami Tensei series is just amazing. I love the atmosphere. I love the story. Everything about those games to me is awesome. Even the Persona series, which, depending on where you come into the series, either Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, there's a lot of argument on which one's better. They're both great. So,
they're made by the same people.
And it's basically the same series. Oh, fuck off and updates driver. That probably caught on the audio. Oh, maybe. Well. No big deal. Anyway, so to start my list proper will be Xenoblade Chronicles 2. First of all, Woodhawker can go suck it. Second...
he started liking it after a while.
Second, this game, to me, it's super long, but to me never got really boring. There was a lot of characters, a lot of collectibles, a lot of different things you could do. The
DLC was even long, too.
Funny enough, I never finished the DLC, but...
Exactly.
And going back to, like, how it has somewhat of a deeper meaning for me is... It was one of It technically was my first Father's Day present that I got from Sonja.
Yeah, I was pregnant the whole time he was playing it.
Yeah, so I have a lot of memories of playing this game while she was pregnant. I have memories of playing it at my...
That was like one of the first games you got when you got the job there. It was like your first paycheck.
Yeah, I remember playing it at my hotel job a lot because I'd work overnights, and that game has plenty of hours of entertainment, so it definitely helped kill time.
You played it for like the whole year, and then you moved on to Ni no Kuni 2.
And for all intents and purposes, I think the story is a lot better than some people give it credit for, because there are people that are on the fence about it.
I will say one thing. Meh 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 gets annoying real fast.
And there were people that had problems with the fan service aspect of it. There is a lot of boobs, but
Yeah,
to
she's
me,
supposed to be coming to Smash.
she did.
She is in it now?
She's already in it.
Well,
Yeah.
the DLC or whatever.
To me, I never paid attention to that anyway, so
Yeah.
whatever. But, so yeah, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is awesome, so, screw everybody else on that one. Another one where I can say screw everybody else is Final Fantasy VIII, which I do not own physically, but I do have in several different forms on different platforms digitally. Just a second.
Don't you have it on Switch?
Yeah, I have it on Switch, and I had it on Steam also, and I think I have it on the PS3.
I think you have it on PS3 too.
You might ask why I need to buy it so many times. Technically speaking, I only bought one of those, so...
No, I'm not really blaming you because of freaking technology now.
Yeah.
It dies, so you have to keep buying it.
So, Final Fantasy VIII was one of those games that, for me, I played at the right time. Because there are people that really don't like the characters in the game, or didn't like how the battle system was, the junction system as it's called. For me, the story kind of related to me more because I was kind of in that edgy teen mode at the time that came out.
So angsty.
Yeah, the angsty teen bit. So, speaking of cringe, but... So, to me, the story kind of resonated better, and I still think the junction system that was used in that game is better than a lot of the Final Fantasy games. You can fight me on that if you want. Has it aged the best? Maybe not, but I still, for the most part, really like it. So, going on to another thing that I'm surprised I actually don't have physically in any way, shape, or form is the Metal Gear Solid series.
Yeah, you do.
I have Twin Snakes, which I should have actually got before I did this, but...
I was gonna say, you definitely have it on physical because I got it for you.
Metal Gear Solid is a interesting one. The gameplay was always great. I was always into those stealth games. What really got with me and why it's on this list is the storytelling in it. It is very confusing, very convoluted, but I think a lot of the story notes, which I guess it shares kind of with like novels like 1982 and things like that, but a lot of the story notes that are brought up in the Metal Gear Solid series, some would say they aged horribly, but the reason they would say they aged horribly is because they ended up being very accurate in a lot of ways.
Are you talking about the GameCube one?
No, I'm talking about the whole series. The whole series has, like... The themes that are in those series with government control and... I guess the Patriots, as they call them, where it's an underground society that's trying to basically dictate how Americans live their life using advertising and things like that. I mean, it very much resonates with how the world actually is to me. And I think just that alone makes the story pretty much timeless because, yeah, it's exactly... A lot of the things that happen in that game could very easily be related to aspects of real life now.
Yeah, basically you can play it at any time and be like, this still could happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like songs like Land of Confusion by Genesis, where the theme is just as relevant then as it is now, if not more so now than it was then.
Yeah, and that was like in 76 or 86, one of them.
Yeah, so, and obviously the games are just awesome in general, and they have a very unique sense of humor.
I was gonna say about was it the fifth one, Phantom Pain or whatever?
Yeah.
Where you could just tie up a guy and he goes, ah! In the balloon. You remember that?
Yeah.
Because you had to recruit some soldiers.
So, this next one, Lost Odyssey on the Xbox 360. So, yeah, I have 3 out of the 5 on my list are JRPGs. But in Lost Odyssey's case, the story is very mature compared to a lot of role-playing games. And a lot of people, they like games, The Last of Us, for example. They like games like that. And one of the main reasons is how the story connects with them and how emotional of a story it is. Those people have not touched Lost Odyssey, I can say that much. Because while some of the story is told basically just through text flashbacks, it's a very emotional story. And it's one that the reason it resonated with me and connected with me was, I guess it was a time where I was looking for something more mature, a story with that type of gameplay that was more adult, and I guess that kind of fit the mold. Plus, I'm into the old-fashioned RPGs, and that game is pretty much that to a T with a couple additions.
Too long.
What?
It's too long, isn't it? Like 4 discs?
It's 4 discs, but trust me, I played... This game took me probably 70 hours to beat. Fucking Xenoblade Chronicles took me about 200 hours, so I wouldn't even compare it. So
I thought you said Lost Odyssey was long.
It's long for the time that I played it, I guess, because games didn't really become stupid long until more recently.
Yeah.
But so my number one, and if you watched the podcast already, especially the Japanese episode, you knew what was coming. It is Mystical Ninja starring Goemon.
He has it twice.
Yeah, I have that, and I have the Japanese version of it. So, that game, if we're just going to talk about it from a gameplay perspective, it's basically everything that is good and bad about Zelda and Mario 64, Ocarina of Time and Mario 64, in one package. And really, I think it's very underrated. A lot of people overlook that game, even though it came out early on the 64's life cycle. And I think the gameplay holds up even today. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it blended a certain unique charm along with the type of gameplay that was in other popular games at the time. And for me personally, it also exposed me, and it's probably even bigger, to the Japanese culture and kind of set in motion a whole lifetime of wanting to go over to Japan and experience that culture firsthand. I mean, seeing what is now kind of more archaic, the way that the structures were displayed in the architecture, seeing the stupid little things like rice balls and mochi be enemies in the game, and I'm like, what the hell kind of land is this, Japan? So it definitely set in motion for me an infatuation with Japan that hell has lasted even to today. So that's, to me, is why that game is number one, not just counting gameplay. You looks like you made some more notes there.
It was more for you.
Alright.
I'm just surprised you didn't mention Turok or like Persona 5.
Turok, there is a ton I forgot. Like I mentioned before, I had a hell of a time even making this list. I literally put it off until recording to even finalize it. And part of that is because there are a lot of games that not only do I like, but there are some that have certain meanings. Like Sonja had mentioned, Turok, it's kind of become almost a Christmas tradition, as funny as that is for me, because like one of our first Christmases I played the game while she was making Christmas cookies, and ever since that one time, I just kind of every Christmas Eve if she's making Christmas cookies, I'll be playing that game. It's just kind of a weird Christmas tradition now.
Yeah. And also, when the limited run was doing it, I was like, hey, do you want this? Because it's 1 and 2, right?
No, the limited run did do Turok 1 and Turok 2, but the one I got was just Turok 2 because I didn't actually have that in any form.
No, we were given it on 64, but it wasn't working, even when you cleaned it. But yeah. I told you about it. That's all. That's the bottom line.
So, do you have anything you want to add to this right now, or anything you have to say about my list?
Well, one is maybe we should have done a top 10, but I don't know if I could do all 10.
I would have been here for weeks before I could do that.
You had a hard time just picking 5. You would even have a harder time with 10?
Yeah, wait until we do movies. Because I hate every movie, so it's even worse.
You got like a top 3, at least.
Yeah. And then to the last 2 will be like, I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
So that was our top 5 video games for us personally. No questions this week, but if you do have any questions about our list or like to make any comments about that, feel free to do so down below.
No, the question should be, what is your all-time favorite game, or do you have a top 5?
Well, yeah, for them, I'm saying like our little random question we usually do. We don't have one this week.
I have one that's pertaining to this. Do you remember your first game ever playing?
Kind of. I believe it was Burger Time on the Atari. Didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I definitely remember that. And getting chased by like the pickle that's in the game. Like, for some reason, those stick out to me really clearly.
I think mine was either Mortal Kombat or Kirby on the NES.
So, anyway, please leave your comments, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We'll be back to normal for our next episode. But until then, hell, do we even know what we're doing next episode?
Mm-mm.
Well, it'll be a surprise to everybody. Have a good day.